ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Bystraya Water here between Burmi in the west, fighting here for the Soviet Union, for the glory of Comrade Stalin, and the 127th Rifle Corps slowly advancing against German lines here, hot on the heels of a German retreat here under the command of Sturmtiger Cobra, fighting here for the Wehrmacht, for the Reich. Here for the Kampfgruppe. Fritz. And we got immediate shots, but we have armored assault versus the infantry corps pulling up armor here to support versus Sturmtiger Cobra here, the close air support, Doctor Elite troops, and mechanized assault bullets, a mix of infantry, and over here machine guns and a single Tiger Ace bullet. We've got double concerts there, we've got double grenadiers on the way here for Cobra. Pioneers moving ahead here. Inch enough northwards, whereas we've got Burmi here heading southwards towards the single fuel point that exists on this map. Pioneers are heading northwards, grenadiers following up here. Looks like now this grenadier squad, they could try and head south here for Sturmtiger Cobra. Central munitions point being secured by Burmi and the Soviet Union. We got a third conscript there on the way.
We have liberated the objective.
Point there being secured as well. And then moves away perhaps towards the victory point, heading southwards there. No real engagement so far, no real engagement. There's close to one here, but one hits into the church, the other one hits southwards. And we got an MD-42 then arriving there for Sturmtiger Cobra, an MD-42, so 2 grenadiers, 1 MD-42 versus 3 conscripts. No SAMAX to note here from Burmi so far. No fortifications, munitions there being secured. So now we got Sturmtiger Cobra there, sort of putting it more focus towards the south as well. Perhaps waiting for a few more forces before making the greater push. Perhaps waiting for a few more forces. Troops holding up here in the bit of a trench. And there we go, MD-42 arrives, and we see elite troops. And he actually used troop training to get the MD-42 to veteran free. Now that is extremely rare to actually see someone do that in a 1 versus 1. But there you go, Sturmtiger Cobra is going for a veteran free MD-42 there within 2.5 minutes. That is pretty unique so far, I would say. Certainly gives him a lot more potency in the form of that MD-42, which does cost with a resource, but if he can then make good use of the MD-42, it can certainly do a lot of harm there. Now, interesting enough, he's not sitting down there to support his infantry down south, he's actually moving up towards the centre here. Now, that seems rather risky. There was newly acquisitioned veterans for the MD-42, but there we go, let's continue towards the conscript. They got the Molotovs, the Grenadiers might have a chance to get up to 1 command point. A quick stun grenade here for Russians running away. And forcing up support here. And now going up from the church, you could power up to incendiary rounds to increase the damage there versus the opponent's side. But again, it's rather risky. I mean, there's basically all of this with the conscripts or engineers could, for example, trying to flank the MD-42. Pioneers taking a look at the front, but down south here, forcing away the Russians. There we go, position take up there in the small wooden bunker. Not really the best one there, since there's basically only 2 that can sort of shoot back. So that's a pretty poor setup there for Burmi, actually. The MD-42 can set up again a bit close, and there go with incendiary rounds. Incendiary rounds, there we go, there we go. Definitely going to help there versus the conscripts start the building, but another MD-42 in the way. Flamethrower up there, but there we go, reducing some heavy casualties there for the conscripts as they're being forced out of the church. Down south there, conscripts very close. I mean, he could actually pop a concussive grenade right there through the small gap there, and probably not the remainders up. No, you do see that Burmese conscripts are allowed to retreat. No attempt there at utter annihilation. Got a second MD-42 here from Cobra. Is he going to try and use troop training again, or is that just going to be a one-off event? No, good lord, that's the second time he's actually used it, and again on another MD-42. I mean, that's extremely rare. I mean, it's very rare for people to actually go for elite troops and sort of actually use troop training in any sense, but then sort of use it that much aggressively early on, and on MD-42s, that's definitely rare. It certainly also has the possibility of adding a lot of punch there versus Burmi, but he's playing super aggressively here with it. I mean, to some extent he's probably betting on his opponent perhaps not quite being ready for MD-42s, but it's certainly not without its risks. It's not without its risks. Comes there running out, there takes some shots there for the support guns, are then before sitting up. Engineers out in the open, there we go. A swift burst quickly suppresses and almost takes them down to half health, there we go. Second burst does put them down to half health. I mean, eventually free MD-42 is not to be messed with. There we go, incendiary rounds. Engineers managed to retreat right there, though Boris sadly does not make it out of there. At the same time, we got comes down here, we've got Canadians joining in. 6 kills already on that MD42. 6 kills. Quite impressive. In fact, that one MD42 has already done more damage there than the Grenadiers. They got engineers on the run. We got a mortar crew here, and on the way for Burmi, probably in response to the MD42's being veteran to freeze, trying to deal with them with artillery. That's certainly one way. More Grenadiers there on the way for Cobra, and there you go, more engineer losses there, up to 8 kills already. I mean, that veteran MD42 is quickly turning out to be a beast here. Grenadiers advancing up here again, concussive grenade, but interesting enough, he does not seem to be using concussive grenades, which is also some players like to sort of get it. Does more than stun and actually damages, and while it certainly might not be a button grenade for its cost, it's actually reasonably effective. It's also reasonably good, they're cleaning up, and they're going to use flanking in, but they're going to force turning about. There we go, tearing into them, quickly suppressing, killing. We do see that Cobra is quick to pull back the MD42, just in case. But so far, Cobra has managed to kill most of that. We also need to fortify the cut-off point here with the fuel cache, also showing him more fuel here. Good. I mean, that guy's going to have a notable fuel advantage here on Bistraya, of course, with this only one fuel point. Mortar going down there. Close to hitting that mortar, actually, though perhaps not quite in the way that Burmi had intended. MD42 falling a bit back, but he's not retreating it, though it's a bit low on health there. It's a bit low on health and numbers. With the further cut-off points, they're trying to do so many resources there to Burmi and the Soviet Union. Pioneers bring up there with a flame there from there, and we got a bunker being set up here. Tech as well there for Storm to get Cobra. He's got an advantage thanks to those two MD42s and some solid play with them, and now it's based sort of building upon it. In one sense, of course, could then sort of try and rush for tier 3, since in essence he's actually put a lot of resources into tier 1, and we could play those bits in the flame force correctly. He could do a lot of damage. There we go, inside the church. Incendiary rounds comes there, moving ahead. They're going to take quite a burst there. And there we go, just heavy casualty there, 4 kills already. 5. Right, they're getting absolutely sawed apart out in the open. Pinned down, 6 kills on the MD42, 7, 8. The bone saw cuts loose there on the Russian troops, giving Burmi quite the nasty surprise there. Of course, the church immediately comes in under fire there from the mortar, obviously a very tempting target, in particular with the veteran T3 MD42 crew inside. Now we're seeing the south being lost here, with the emphasis here on the north. I mean, Cobra's basically left the south open, all the fuel there, so of course that might get a chance for Burmi to get some resources back. Nothing further going on the base here, though. He could go for Lactic Gas Company, but upon which they should actually just rush for tier 3 and sort of get some armor up that way, once he regains the fuel point in the south, that is. Leaving the MD42 in the church. Bold. It looks like the fuel cache could slowly be taken out. Of course, Burmi himself might also want to consider fuel cache. I mean, with a map with only one fuel point, I mean, generally some fuel caches will be very much appreciated. Since unless you've got an absolute iron grip on the southern fuel point there, I mean, you will find yourself cut off. And there we go, he's actually using a demo charge there. So deal with the fuel cache. Absolutely determined to sort of do as much damage there to Cobra's fuel income. That's pretty ballsy. Unfortunately, they continue to fire away there. And there you go, fuel cache annihilated. Nothing going on there. MD42 there ready. Comes with there, Grenadiers, Pioneers bring it, sort of clear them out. 127 Rifle Corps continues to fight against the fascists as they await armoured reinforcements for some time off there. Grenadiers moving up there, so we've got some machine guns. Enough. He's not considering any sort of G43, so getting a bit more firepower on the move. A bit of further firing up here, trying to get that mortar perhaps. He's got no grenades to deal with that. But still, we've got mortar fire there against the church and the MD crew ensconced within it. Further push up here, the other MD42 not leaving the base yet. He might want to get back in the fight as soon as possible to lay down some murderous fire there versus Burmese troops. Now we're going to see a push back by the conscripts, and we got a chunk of take command up here for Burmi. So he is rushing out a bit of armor himself that way, which is quite impressive considering, you know, the fuel advantages that Cobra has a bit, but still not taking up. I go for the light guns company instead then, heading for the southern fuel point against versus conscripts. Of course, I mean, again, with the amount of fuel courses straight away, I mean, it's obviously there's going to be sort of a slight chance of them sort of being equal, but still, I mean, he's done reasonably good with those MD42 so far. I guess so needs to be careful not to get too defensive with them either. I mean, again, it is a lot of resources, so he needs to use some sort of counter to support more aggressive moves with the rest of his infantry, I feel. Getting the fuel pump back in the south. Looks like he's preparing another sort of defensive line here around the centre, right around these 2 points, the church and the munitions. MG42 sending up, needs to set up actually though. Might be a bit too late here. And there go, rah! No, he stops up, Ooh, slight mistake there I think. 11 kills. So they need to retreat, Schnell, the other MG42 could be able to support him, but still that MG42 needs to get out over there, and the other one might sort of consider getting out soon as well. Concussive grenade here would be good. And again, there seems to be a reluctance here from Cobra to utilise the concussive grenade. We got a half-track on the way for Burmi, an M5 half-track actually arriving there. Very interesting. It's not trying to wait for a T70 or something else. I mean, the half-track, of course, could, if upgraded, provide a lot of anti-air support, but also just allow them to reinforce the front line, make it harder for Cobra to push him off. I mean, that's certainly also a viable option there. Though it's one also rather rarely seen, just like, you know, elite troops training users there. So, I mean, this is definitely turning into a bit of an unusual fight in some regards. We got another grenade squad on the way for Cobra. I think that's a bit much. He hasn't even finished his like to make a nice company. I mean, I think he should finish that, cancel the grenade set, get some panzer grenadier. I think that would be much better. In particular, then use troop training on them to get them up to virtually 2 quick, and that way get them some more aggressive bonuses versus all the Russian infantry. But there you go, instead he goes for a 4th grenadier squad. M40 fights away up north, again incendiary rounds on the way. Swinging into those engineers again, doing serious damage. They're going their negative cover as well, just making it much worse. A murderous storm of bullets being laid down there versus the Russian integrators who continue to push forwards. Lots of light machine guns there. MG42 there, sneaking up at the same time with a pressure towards the car point. We got the half to their bit damage, guns will need to fall back. His best option here would actually try and lure the half track in if possible into the incendiary round here, and an MG42 and just basically shredded within moments. But the fuel point is back within control, he's not finished that one. Come on, cancel it, take up or finish it and get maybe some panzer grenadiers or a half track yourself. Grenadiers there versus the conscript. We got the half track slowly rolling, basically until you can sort of slowly push forwards here, just constantly reinforcing. M4 needs to set up, Schnell. Other MG4 they're back in the base. And there you go, incendiary rounds again, there we go, just tearing into those conscripts. They're not quite well set up there, I think. Still does some damage. And kills another poor soul there as Gunner Jürgen tears into them. But he's certainly also making aggressive use of the incendiary rounds. Also good to see again. Not something a lot of people tend to sort of use again with the MG42. Again, I do think that's sort of actually a larger neglect there. And he's taking up, actually. He hasn't finished the light mechanist company, he's taking up. So again, I would suggest he actually cancelled that then, instead of, you know, focus on the supply core instead. He probably could have been there sooner had he just cancelled early and just used the resource of that instead. But oh well. And he's actually upgraded to the quarter mount. He hasn't even fully repaired it though, he's still got a damaged engine. He might want to fix up the engine there before rushing ahead, because ours can sort of, you know, be a lot more mobile and of course be a lot more deadly with it. Still, Cobra has been maintaining a large amount of map control here. Conscious moving ahead there, opening up on the grenadiers. MG42 could transit up here, sort of cover the south. There we go. He can hit tier 3. He can't get us a pommer cop. The grenadiers need to get away. Grenadiers need to get away. Do not take that half check there lightly. SU M17. There with its support mount. Controlling up here, we got both the 74s actually up north with no real infantry to screen them. A bit risky. Then again, I mean, they're veterans. I suppose there's that sort of area, but still, it's a bit risky. There goes the pommer cop. He's still not cancelled the light to make a nice company or finished it. Half to them moving ahead. Oh dear. Both MG4 has used the incendiary rounds. They can't use it right away there versus the A half. He's actually setting up there. He needs to retreat. He just needs to retreat. Oh, scheiße. This is bad news. There we go. We could see an MG42 wiped out. We could see eventually MG42 wiped out. Oh dear. Cobra, you silly person. And there you go. MG42 wiped out. He's also lost the Grenadier squad. So now Cobra's actually suffering a bit here. It's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is for Cobra, though he suffers some loss. He's just lost a veteran MG42 and handed over an MG42 right there to Burmi. So there's definitely some problems staying inbound. I mean, he's still done a lot of damage with them, though, so I mean, it's not going to be a complete loss, but it's not without its issues or headaches either. And map control also here being swiftly lost to a swift advance there from Burmi, who's now got a bit more troops out in the field. I mean, he's going for the Swarmer Corps. Again, I do feel like he's considered just cancelling this our way once it gets it up. A Panzer IV would be an option. Getting out a Flak Panzer, getting out some Stugs. That way he could also lay down a lot of firepower there versus Burmi. I mean, those are sort of the directions. Either way, if he gets out some armor, I think you should save up some resources, so use troop training on, sort of quickly get it towards Fetch 22 and above. I mean, that regard, troop training again can also be used for that. And I think that would definitely benefit Sturmtiger Cobra, who could also benefit from another fuel cache as well. But if he does finish that, he should get some Panzer guns also consider troop training there. I mean, really, if you are going to use troop training, use it fully throughout the battle. I mean, of course, not excessively, but still use it to sort of get up some more key units at sort of a good level of veterans. You boost some others, who's focused on like a tank up Veterans 1, then quickly move them on to Veterans 2 with troop training. I mean, that is a very valid option. We'll of course have to see what Sturmtiger Cobra does. Otherwise, he needs to sort of put a bit more focus around the fuel point. I mean, of course, a bit more play up north is needed since that's where the victory points are, but don't neglect the fuel. Don't neglect the fuel, in particular not with troop training, I think. For Burmi, I think a fuel cache, of course, will be needed for him as well. In fact, two, since he's rather suffering heavily with the fuel, and if he gets up more, he can sort of play a bit along the trucks. Maybe then he could quickly get out maybe a T-34-76, or he could even get a T-70 now, just to further add anti-infantry pressure there versus Cobra. Otherwise, a T-34-76 could be a good move there. Field gun might also be an option there, sort of provide some anti-tank options there versus Cobra. Since he's pretty much seen no tier 2, for now he must be expecting a bit of a tier 3 move there from Cobra, which is obviously what seems to be happening. Otherwise, a few mines here and there would be also a good choice there for Burmi, and otherwise, use the half-track a bit aggressive, but also, keep reinforcing troops. I mean, right here, for example, he could grab the MG42 and reinforce both the squad that took it, of course, the MG42 as well. So, I mean, in that regard, having an MG42 as a surge does allow some more aggressive tactics here, and also allows sort of more quickly stabler, or put a defense on the legs. They'll set it up. Anyways, back to the fight here, as I fumble my way through metaphors and whatnot. And there you go, comes being sold down here by Grenadiers without machine guns. Not looking good, not looking good. And there you go, MG42 comes there, and they can of course be quickly reinforced here. Again, in Sean, he doesn't have to reinforce, he immediately put that MG42 to action there at full health, well, lose full numbers. And there you go, Panther 1 away for Cobra. He's still got plenty of manpower there, so again, he could use this for some Panzer Grenadier. He could of course also just get another MG42 here, down south. Stun grenade there, but that was not quite well aimed. That is actually his first stun grenade. I do think he could have used some earlier. Some heavy action, there we go, Conscript pushed away.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
MG42 heading northwards here. I think Cobra's being a bit overconfident there in his Veteran 3 MB40. It's potent, but it's not going to stop an army single-handedly potent. Oh well, we got some pioneers joining in. And there we go, fuel cache up for Burmi, fuel cache up for Burmi. That is good, that is good for him. And there you go, Panther 4 running for Cobra. Troop training now. Could be an option, of course, just waiting until it's gained veterans in what. Either way, I do think some troop training is going to be a good option there. We got a field gun on the way. Mines being laid down there, and there you go, MG42 supporting the conscripts, or pioneers here, versus the conscripts pushing them away. Calling up more pioneers, I mean, that's also an option. I mean, he's got some armor out of the way, so some pioneers to fix it up further would be a solid option as well.
How can we help?
Mortar crew hanging about there with 82mm mortar, slightly different from the usual caliber mortar, which is about 81. That's not to say the Germans couldn't make use of the mortar tubes, though there were some issues there sort of getting the full effect out of the mortar tube for their own ammo, for example. But it was possible. It was possible.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Stun grenade here, instead of running straight up to them. And instead we see retreat here. Cobra seems to be slightly oversending his troops now, that is rather dangerous. And we got another fuel cache here, good. Panther 4, what's he doing with the Panther 4? What is he doing with that Panzerkampfwagen? He seems rushing straight in behind enemy lines, rather risky at the same time, got the A half to there opening up. Got a field gun about here as well. Trying to think here to deal with the fuel cache, that's not a bad idea though. I mean, it's rather risky to rush a Panther 1 behind enemy lines here. And technically they failed to penetrate, got a field gun opening up. MD4, they're close to getting annihilated. Need to deal with that field gun first, though it's actually set up. It's a bit difficult for the Panther 4 to run about if he's not careful. Focus the field gun, focus the field gun. He's focusing on the mortar, not the field gun, not the thing that can actually harm the Panther 4. What are you doing, Cobra? 4-6, shite in there, going to tank grenades. Pop smoke. Get out of there then, get out of there. More anti-tank grenades. Almost down to half health there, field gun moving about. Needs to move up something to support, but at the same time there's problems. He's pursuing the half tracker, what is he? What is Cobra doing here? After they're pulling away. Field gun moving up, he's still moving ahead now. What is Cobra thinking? He's not trying to get the Panther 4 out of there. He's just sort of moving in further. I suppose in a sense he could sort of be realising he can't get it out of here, so just basically using it to distract his opponent, sort of ensure he can take as much territory in the meanwhile, but even then, can't help but feel it's a bit risky, and there might have been a chance of actually silencing that Panther 4, compared to now where he's basically going to lose it no matter what. Plus, he could risk actually gets abandoned us handed over to the enemy, without him having a chance of recovering or at least sort of dealing with it. Smoke again, pop, but it... Ooh, we got an MD4 to the clear out, he should take it back, he should take it back. The other MD4 there, by the way, not in a good position all of a sudden, rather heavily damaged. There you go, Panther 4 wrecked, annihilated, going to bits. Oh, there we go, engineers wiped out. We could see another flame here for the Pioneers. They could try and grab then retreat, or they could just retreat. Nope, can't just make it for it first. Need to slow down. Oh, good lord, Heinz could burst into flames. Poor Heinz. There you go, have to do something with the gunners inside. Got another Panther 4 on the way for Cobra. Another Panther 4. He is close getting down beam, just maybe calling it a Tiger Race. Come the 8 have to just continue 10. And there you go, Pioneers getting annihilated here. Gonna just in trouble. Not securing that MD42. I think he should have done that. And there you go, Pioneers were wiped out. And this could be next here. 450 cal machine guns, they're just tearing into them. There you go, almost 500 Grenadier squads, well, almost actually 2. At the same time, another man engagement here. Grenadiers getting off Rifle Grenade, but not really gaining much. And he's just more or less going to end up maybe wiping his unit again, losing more manpower than necessary here for Cobra, and of course, feeding that a half technical veterancy. That is veterancy 2. There we go, a Grenadier squad annihilated. Now Cobra sort of really beginning to socially bleed out. He might in fact have gotten a bit overconfident here, or that, or he actually might have panicked, sort of just trying to sort of get hyper-aggressive in the hopes he could sort of throw his opponent off. And that clearly doesn't seem to have worked.
Yes, comrade.
Panther 4 is going to need some repairs soon though.
You guys, listen to me if you want to live.
Keeps getting Grenadiers. No consideration towards Panzer Grenadier or maybe another MD42. Of course, we've got the fuel itself being lost here again. Burmi though slowly closing in, maybe an IS-2 here or some T-3045s. Half set being pulled back here, could do some repairs. Of course, you can't vehicle crew self-repairs, of course, we can quickly sort that out if he wants. Going to MD up there, soon on the Panther 4. And they're going to send you around 17 kills on the MD42, 17 kills, really taking to this consequence. 18 kills. 19. Could he get more? Could he get more? Looks like he's not retreating here. Burmi. And there you go. Finally retreating. Almost wiped out. Almost wiped out this consequence there with the MD42. Definitely done a lot of damage here. Definitely done a lot of damage. At the same time, got a fuel point again. Oh, fuel cache specifically again being engaged here. And again, aggressively pushing forward in the knocks as well. A half check coming in, so trying to push back. At the same time, got conscious sneaking back there. Good. Very close there to the Tiger Ace. He's got the command points now, just need the fuel here. Cobra that's rushing this Panther 4 again, needs to be careful. M40 holding up in the farmhouse. Though the farmhouse is quickly looking rather terrible. And oh, straight into mine. Heavy engine damage. Oh dear, why do you keep doing that, Cobra? Playing very aggressively with this Panther 4. Playing very aggressively there. Basically both ending up in situations where they can't really extract them from the mess they've ended up in. Didn't even get that many kills in this one.
Enemy
dear.
forces are securing our territory.
There you go, the Tiger Ace has been mobilized. Send over to the rear guard to try and stabilize things here.
Enemy has broken our supply lines.
There you go, Tiger Ace does a burst through.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Comes to the bit of trouble. There we go, good hit, good hit. We could see a wipe there, we could see a wipe. At the same time, they have to rushing in versus the Pioneers down south. They need to retreat. There you go, conscript annihilate. We could see the MD42 next. Nope, not quite annihilated yet. But of course, that might change. There we go, wipe. MD42 managed meanwhile to escape thanks to the heroic sacrifice there of their comrade. Intentional or not.
Grenadiers reporting.
Cobra's not, of course, leaving manpower. Could try and get aim either for Stu right now on Ostwind. Those are still within his range. It can sort of allow him to support the Tiger Ace a bit better here. With some armor. And meanwhile, he's pulling back the Tiger Ace, they could do some repairs. Meanwhile, Russians are pushing forward sort of across the map otherwise.
The enemy has driven a wedge.
Burmi
in our
ever
lines.
slowly getting closer to the IS-2, which might be aiming for. Of course, we could also go for the two T-35s. Both could work here versus the Tiger Ace, though. Both could work.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
IS-2 very close to breaking. Needs to be seriously careful about that one. There you go, comes shot with the MG42. 21 kills. 22. Rifling it here, does not quite land on the intended target, and then the guys 2 has been pulled up here for the rifle corps. In response to the Tiger Ace. Mortar crew in a bit of trouble there. Almost got it. Now going for white. Pioneers need to retreat in the meanwhile. Oh, dear, close to getting knighted themselves. There you go. Tiger Ace versus IS-2. Down south, they're being overwhelmed. There you go. A-half just really massacring those Grenadiers. 14 kills. Very close. Eventually, they're very close. He could actually go into overdrive, then hunt them down if he wanted, but that's not completely necessary. It's not completely necessary. And there we go. White. Another heavy blow there to Cobra. Manpower is definitely beginning to bleed out severely. Tiger Ace receiving no repairs, just waiting here, not trying to pursue further. We got a field gun here though. He should actually rush up the half track as soon as he can to reinforce that field gun to ensure it doesn't get wiped easily. I mean, he's down to 2 men, 1 could hit there from the ace, and that could be it. Which, considering his specialty, there would be a bit of a waste there, to be honest. Burmi should rush up the half track there to deal with it, but he seems to be keeping the half track just basically down there, doing absolutely nada. Holtman shoots the meanwhile, gets to the fight there from his Tiger. Moving forward to hunt down more targets. It's basically the only thing sort of keeping the German effort together at the moment. There you go, field gun spotted here by the Tiger Ace. Another mine hit, another mine! Hakiba! No mines was here whatsoever from Cobra. And it's really beginning to hurt him. I mean, that's the second tank sort of suffering anything there. There's your mine, and that's the Tiger Ace. So he's taking heavy damage here from the IS-2, and he's got no munitions for target recon. There's got a few chances here. IS-2 flanking in, Conscious rushing in as well. This is looking rather terrible, but it's moving up here. Damage engine again. There you go. Tiger Ace almost knocked out here. Shot bounces off the front of the IS-2. Who will get the shot through? Who will get the shot through? There we go. IS-2 wrecks the Ace. That's pretty much GG here. Cobra's got no real forces left after this. And there you go, have to rush this forward, sending some more Grenadiers. And there we go, wiped. And there you go, Cobra surrenders, GG. A bit of a short match, I know, but slept poorly, so rather figured that this was actually pretty interesting. And just not a bit too short, so rather sort of bent the rules a bit there. Anyways, overall an interesting match in many regards. I mean, we saw early hearts there from Russians. Very rare to see that, but that also, you know, troop training actually being utilized, and in the beginning of the game on MG42 is very rare there, rather unique and rather interesting. I mean, I think overall the problem here for Cobra was attention towards OA extending slightly for getting the fuel, but also his armor play was very reckless. I'm not entirely sure it was born over that was hubris or what, but he basically sort of kept rushing his tanks ahead and just getting them knocked out so quickly. I also think he could have done getting some armor out earlier, just gunning up some troop taking on the Pentagons. And rather, another thing I felt was an issue. He only used it a bit once or twice actually, and then he stopped using it when he could have used it more for sort of a better effect as he grew his army as well slowly. I also think he should use more stun grenades. I think that was definitely another lacking there from Cobra, which rather aided Burmi a bit there. But Burmi also overall reacted nicely. He had some problems they needed with MD40, but the A half take really helped him there, of course, with its large amount of firepower and its great mobility, plus the ability to reinforce it made him a lot more resilient on the front lines and harder to push back, and that really gave him a bit more extra sort of push there versus Cobra in the longer run. And a bit risky then sort of playing for an eyes too, though. I mean, had Cobra played his armor better, I mean, Burmi would have lost. He should have had either more field guns out to sort of try and get out the T-34-76, and he should have had more fuel caches. A lot more fuel caches. That was definitely also one more risky thing, considering how Cobra dominate the fuel point over and over again. So there are some problems as well from Burmi, and again, he got a bit lucky though that Cobra basically handled his Panzer IVs as terribly as he did. But otherwise, again, very interesting fight with some rather novel moves there from both sides. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gave you ideas for your matches. If you did, why not subscribe to your friends, share it with everyone. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers and thank you for watching. Bye.